in, everyone. Come on in because we are back, y'all. We are back after a long hiatus. Where are my Married at First Sight viewers? Where are you guys? I missed you. I know some of you just watched Married at First Sight, so I'm happy to have all y'all back to start chatting with you up and again. I hope you had a good hiatus. And welcome back. We got a lot to talk about, y'all, because I didn't do the video on the first episode. So this is considered episode 1, the Chicago Hopefuls. But they did have a matchmaking special, and then they had some type of thing where they had the panelists and all of that. I didn't do that. And I haven't watched the after party quite yet. So I'm going to have to look at that as well. I think there was an after party. So this review is going to be on episode 1. I'm also going to sprinkle in a little bit of the matchmaking special because I wanted to learn a little bit more about the people. So I did try to go back and watch bits and pieces of it, not everything. So if I missed anything, I'm going to need all my mafs experts to chime in down in the chat. And if you're here for a premiere, welcome to the premiere if you made it. Welcome to the premiere if you made it. If you're a little late to the premiere, just jump in right where we are. I'm going to leave the ticker at the bottom of the screen. That way, if you're here for the replay, you will know when I start talking about each of the couples, because I am going to talk about the couples individually. So on my last videos, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching. I don't know, it was one of the videos I did, and I said, what type of person are you? What I asked in one of my videos was, what type of person are you? Do you like good news first, or do you like bad news first? And I said I was the type of person that I like good news first. And a lot of y'all wrote down and said, no, you like bad news first, because then you want to end with the good news to cheer you up after the bad news. Overwhelmingly, most people said they wanted the bad news first and then give them the good news on the end. Well, I'm going to give you what you're looking for. And I'm going to give you the bad news first. The bad news first is that Michelle and David, they ain't going to make it. I don't see it, y'all. I don't see Michelle and David making it at all. I really don't see it. So here's a couple of things that we learned about them. I'm going to tell you why I don't see them make it at all. First of all, we start off with Michelle, who said that some of her problems in dating has been that she's been guarded and she does not let people in. That's one of the biggest problems with people who get married. If any of you guys who watch these shows, the guarded people do not do well, especially in this shortened process. Because if you're already guarded and you don't let people in, even when you're in the regular dating scene, when you got all the time in the world to get to know someone, you're definitely not going to do well in this little 8-week process. So I'm already like, she's not going to do well in the process. Michelle has been guarded. She doesn't let people in. And she says that's why she's single. Well, think about this. You're guarded. You don't let people in. And then you come to an accelerated program. That's like saying I'm a slow learner, but I'm going to sign up for an AP chemistry class. Girl, go sit down. I'm not saying that you can't eventually get married. I'm just saying you shouldn't be in an accelerated process. Okay, advanced placement. You're not advanced. You're normal or you're slower. It doesn't mean you can't grasp the subject level eventually or the subject material eventually. But if you're telling me you're guarded and you don't let people in, and that's why you haven't dated and now you signed up for Married at First Sight, you're going to struggle. And then she tells us how she likes to go out. And then she goes on and says she wants to be independent and have a lot of independent time, but do some things together. Girl, that's not what marriage is about. She's treating marriage, and I'm going to get to this. When I start getting to the good parts, y'all going to see the difference I'm talking about. She says she's independent and she wants to do some things together. So what she wants to do is have her life as it is now. And then what she wants to do is she wants to sprinkle a husband on top like some tahini. Y'all put that little seasoning tahini on anything you got. I got my life, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of a husband on top just to give it a little bit of flavor. That's not how marriage works. A lot of people really believe that marriage is there to serve them. Like they're the main course. They're the main course. And then I take marriage and I sprinkle it on top. So marriage is here to serve my life. When really what makes a marriage is both people have to come to serve the marriage. You get what I'm saying? You have to come to serve the marriage. And once you serve the marriage produces what then in turn blesses you. That's how it works. But I see Michelle already has the opposite type of thinking. She has the type of thinking that I'm independent, I have this life, I do all this, but I really do want a little bit of seasoning. It's a little bland. I need a little bit of salt on top. I need a little bit of seasoning salt on top of it. I need a little bit of that. What's that salt? What's that stuff we love to put on our food? That Cajun stuff, Tony. How you pronounce the last name? Tony Chachera or whatever it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That stuff be good on stuff. You be seasoning up your chicken with that. It tastes good. But that's what I'm getting right now when I'm listening to Michelle. She's 38. Then they ask her the question, is it okay if David or the man you're going to marry, this is like in the matchmaking special, is it okay if the man makes less than you? Girl, it was a long, long, awkward pause. A long, awkward pause. And then finally she said, well, it's doable. Bah, doable. That ain't going to be good. That's a no. That's a no. When someone asks you that question and you say it's doable, you might as well just have said, no, it's not really what I want. And she should have been honest and just said it. Because then what they're going to end up giving her is a man that don't make no money, that lives in the basement with his mama. She said at one time, she was a social worker. I think now, what does she do now? I know she says she has a great career. I guess maybe it's later on down in my notes, I'll figure out what she wants to do now. But they done paired her with this guy named David, who's 35, so he's 3 years younger than her. And he said he got 2 jobs and his car is paid off. Yeah, your car is paid off because you living in your parents' apartment and you probably ain't paying no rent. That ain't no accomplishment. A lot of us could have paid off cars if we didn't have to pay no rent or mortgage. Mortgage be 50% of people's paychecks. And he over here bragging because he got his car paid off. Now he says he doesn't really have to live in his parents' apartment. He says he's there to save money. He says that he has 2 jobs and what he's doing is he's saving all his money to buy a house. And what he says is, why should I give all that money to a landlord when I can be saving it up at 35 years old? So you up there in your parents' house at 35 years old, not even contributing to their household financially, and you're just saving all your money for a grown man, and you want to go from a basement apartment to marriage. He ain't ready. He ain't ready. I don't believe it. I don't see it in him. And let me tell you also why I don't think he's ready. Because when Pastor Cal was visiting him and the family, and he asked the family, the mother and the father, do you think he needs to get married? And the mama said, yeah, he definitely needs to get married. The mama knows. The mama says he needs someone to take care of him because I'm tired of doing it. That's what the mama's saying. He needs to get married because he needs someone in his life. And then when they were asking the father, what type of woman do you think he needs? The father said, he needs someone dependable and someone smart. And she needs to be independent and do things on her own. Now, maybe this is why the experts thought Michelle would be a good match, because Michelle said she's independent and she likes to do things on her own. And then she wants to sprinkle a little bit of the husband on top, the little Tony Chacheri or the tahine seasoning on top. And so they think, oh, this would be perfect. I'll get her a deadbeat. I'll get her a deadbeat like David. And then she can do whatever she wants because he's not going to have any pathway forward in life. No, that's not going to work. Because what's going to happen to David is he's going to want a person who's fulfilling roles in his life that his mama did. You see, there hasn't been enough separation between David and his mama. Men need to leave their mamas before they join with a woman, because otherwise what they're going to do is they're going to go from their mama to then wanting that woman to be their mama. And let me tell you, Michelle already said she's not here to be nobody's mama. She's independent. So that daddy said, that mama said, so that father said 2 different things. He said someone dependable and someone independent. Now, the dependable he got right, because what he's saying is my son's going to need a woman to do a lot for him. That's why she's got to be dependable. And then what he said was she needs to be independent because my son ain't going to do nothing for her. That's why she needs to be independent. He needs a woman who's going to do for him, but she got to be independent enough that she don't expect enough from him. And that's also why she got to be smart, because the son ain't going to be that smart to figure things out, and he going to need that woman to do a lot. He's not ready. And then they asked him, does he want to have kids? He says he doesn't mind to have kids, but he's okay if he doesn't have them. And it's the same thing Michelle said. See, these two are coming to marriage to have marriage serve them. And this is why I'm telling you they're not going to be good together, because that's not what marriage is for. Marriage eventually does bring you joy, but it comes after you begin to serve the marriage. And what these two are coming into the marriage as, I want to come right into the marriage and I want to start receiving from the marriage. Because as Michelle said, she already has everything. She's independent. She just needs a little seasoning salt on top. Every once in a while, I need to do something with you. And this man has said sort of the same thing. So they're also not thinking about having children, which is okay. There are a lot of people out here. What are the people called now? They're calling them DINKs, D-I-N-K, dual income, no kids. A lot of people are choosing that, and nothing is wrong with that. And so you might ask the question, why don't you want any children? And a lot of them say, you know why? Because really, I want my marriage to be about me and my wife. I want it to be more focused on our happiness, traveling, whatever. Maybe they feel kids are too expensive. Maybe they feel kids are too a lot of work. Maybe they feel like they could be happy without kids. It really doesn't matter. And there's no judgment against dinks of the world and people who don't want children, but it is of a certain mindset, right? And it doesn't mean the mindset is wrong. Please hear me out. It doesn't mean the mindset is wrong, but just like you service children in the beginning of a child's life, you are servicing a child because a child can do much for themselves. It is the same way marriage is. You have to serve the marriage. And if you don't have the mentality of wanting to serve, period, I'm not talking about just serve children. If you don't have the mentality that you want to serve something, you won't be able to stay in a marriage, because a marriage must be fed. Just like children must be fed, the marriage must be fed. And you don't get anything out of the marriage until you feed the marriage. And so when you have people coming in focusing on what they want to receive from the marriage and not talking about what they want to give to the marriage will starve. It will starve and then it will die. And if it starves and doesn't have any food and it doesn't have any water, it cannot produce fruit. The happiness everyone is talking about they want out of marriage is fruit of the marriage. But everyone knows to get fruit off a tree, guess what you got to do? You got to water the tree. You got to give the tree nutrients. But a lot of people start coming into marriage thinking about, I want some nice juicy plums. I want some juicy sweet Georgia peaches. I want this. I want that. I want all the fruit that's going to fall from the tree that's going to taste so good to me and make me feel good. But they're not thinking about the work that they're going to have to do to make that tree produce that fruit. Michelle says she's been single for 6 years. 6 years. That also tells me she hasn't been necessarily serving any type of relationship for 6 years. It is a muscle that is gone weak. Doesn't mean she can't strengthen the muscle. Yes, she can strengthen the muscle. But it's like telling someone, hey, I ain't worked out in 6 years. You're not going to have the same type of muscle density as someone who's been working out all the time. So you're going to need to build that muscle. She hasn't been in a relationship for 6 years. She says, well, why have you been single, Michelle? Well, I'm fun and cute. Fun and cute is not nourishment to a marriage. Being fun, being cute is not serving a marriage. That's not work into a marriage or work into a relationship. So she keeps thinking I should have received fruit of a relationship because I'm fun and cute. No, that's not how it works. She says, I'm independent. I don't need a man to protect. I don't need a man to provide, but I want a partner and an equal. You see what she's saying? She's saying, I don't need anyone to protect me. I don't need to provide for me. So what are you saying? You don't need any fruits of the marriage? Because that's what a fruit of the marriage is. Fruit of the marriage is protection. It's providing. No, what she said is I don't want that fruit, but I do want to be able to have a person that I'm equal with and a partner. So you just want someone to go out with. That's all you want? That's all you want? You just want a little seasoning on top? So what happens during those times when you're okay, you're independent, you need your alone time or whatever else? But what if the tree needs some water? What if the tree needs some something to drink? Are you going to be more focused on the fact, well, I don't need to feed you, tree. I don't need to water you, tree, because right now I'm feeling okay. I don't need anything from you because I really only want a little bit of seasoning. You can stop right now and I'm done with the seasoning. Put it away. You put enough on it. She's not really talking about how she's going to serve the marriage. She's talking about I want someone that's my equal. Then she goes on to say she wants a light-skinned black guy, not too vanilla, tall and built. She wants a beard. It's okay if he has a beard and some tattoos. Who's gonna be a ride or die? This is all physical stuff. This is all physical stuff. This is the stuff she wants. It's like asking you, how do you want your steak? Medium well, rare. This is how I like my steak, right? But she's not talking about the nourishment of the steak. She's just talking about the way the steak tastes. But the real part of the steak is really about feeding our bodies, right? Yeah, we want the steak to taste good. But in the end, if you are a starving body and you don't have any food, you could care less whether that steak was well done, medium well, rare, or whatever else. That's extra stuff. When you're starving, you haven't been in a relationship for 6 years and you say you want a marriage, at this point in time, should you really be talking about rare, medium well, well done? No, you should be like, you know what? This is how typically if I weren't starving, I'd like it. But at this point in time, you know what? I want a steak that's going to nourish me and get me back healthy. You should be talking about the substance of the steak. And unfortunately, Michelle does not talk about anything of substance. David says he wants someone that's loyal, independent, and confident. There you go. He doesn't want to service a woman. He wants her loyal, to be always there for him, but she needs to be independent. So he really don't want her dependent on him that much. And she needs to be confident because she's going to have a whole lot of work to do. And she's going to need to be confident to be out here in the world all by herself, even though she's married to me. He's not going to be that much supportive for a woman. I'm sorry. Y'all wanted the bad news first. That's what y'all told me, that you like to have the bad news first. So I'm giving it to you. It's not because I'm trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to say right here, right now, I had to deliver some bad news to y'all. And I just don't see Michelle and David working at all. He said he's a bona fide mama's boy. This is what he says. He's a mama's boy. So he's continually talking about how his relationships feed him. He hasn't moved from being a mama's boy, receiving from his mother, to becoming a person who then cares for his mother, right? Now, if you're a mama's boy, if you're dating a guy who's a mama's boy, but he has transitioned from receiving from mommy all the time and then transitioned into caring for his mother, he's a mother's boy, but he's a mother's boy in the way that he cares for his mother. That's a different story. But where David is stuck is he's still a mama's boy receiving, sucking off the breast of the mother. That's a problem. He says he wants a sweet woman. He says his mother's Puerto Rican. His mother is strong. You see, that's the thing. David grew up with a strong Puerto Rican mother who probably ran a lot of things in the house, did a lot of things. It looks like he was a bit coddled, right? He was a bit coddled in life. And so now when he grows up, he's decided he wants certain things about his mother, but he doesn't want other things about his mother. You see, this is what happens sometimes when there's these strong women, mothers who run families, that the sons have two feelings about those mothers. One is they like all the stuff the mothers do because that mother's running the house. She's doing everything. She's strong. She's independent. She gets a lot done. She does a lot for the son. But with that comes some bossiness of the mother. That's where it comes with. Some bossiness can come from that mother because that mother becomes a bit bossy because she's got to run everybody in the house because ain't nobody doing shit. She got to run everybody. So when that son grows up, one thing he starts to realize is the part he loved about his mother was all the things his mother did for him. My mother does this, she does this, she does this. But the part that he doesn't like as a man is the mother telling him what to do. He doesn't like that as a man because he says, I'm a man. My mother shouldn't tell me what to do, but yet he still wants to suck off the breast of his mother. So when he gets ready to go out into the world to find his own woman, what he says is, I want a different combination. I want the independence of my mother. I want the mother that's going to do everything because I like that of my mother. But what I don't want is I don't want the woman who's going to be bossy. So what he tries to get is an independent woman that's sweet and kind. That's what he tries to get. I want an independent woman who won't need me, but is real sweet and who is real kind to me and won't be bossing me around. And so what he says is, what does that woman look like? What does that woman look like? So what he does is he then sometimes what men will do is they will reject parts of the mother. And so what this man has said, David has said, his family is Puerto Rican. It's full of strong women, but he don't want one. He don't want one because the Puerto Rican women are too bossy, too strong. So what he says is, I want a white blonde woman with blue eyes. Because what I think David has associated with white blonde women, blue eyes, is that they will be nicer to him. They won't be so bossy to him, but he wants her independent. So he wants an independent white woman with blue eyes and blonde hair that's not Puerto Rican and that's not bossy. Because what he wants is he wants the woman to serve him the way he wants to be served. He doesn't really want to serve the marriage. And he needs her to be ride or die, which means no matter what he puts out, I need her to take it and still ride with me and be loyal to me. David is a hot mess. And honestly, these two, I'm going to predict a thumbs down on them. I'm sorry. Y'all wanted the bad news first. I'm giving it to you. The bad news first. But I don't know if I want to hit you with all the bad news first because then y'all might click off. So I'm going to sprinkle in right now. And I know y'all wanted all the bad news first, but I'm not going to give it to you all. I'm going to spoon feed it to you. Because like I said, when the question was asked, do you want bad news first or good news first? A lot of y'all said the bad news. So I gave it to you. But I'm here to tell y'all that I was the one that said, I want the good news first. Put me in a good mood first. So I'm going to give you some good news. The good news I'm going to bring y'all here today is the good news of Camille and Thomas. There we go, y'all. We got a winner. We got a winner. I'm predicting a winner with Camille and Thomas. And as every season go, y'all know I could be wrong. But I'm going to go out here and I'm going to predict a winner for Camille and I'm going to predict a winner for Thomas. Now, does it mean that I don't see some red flags with these two? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is they have the right mindset. You see, because part of marriage is having the right mindset. Once you have the right mindset, the way you'll know if you can make marriage is if you can hold that mindset, hold on to that mindset, execute that mindset. But what I talked about with David and Michelle, they don't even have the right mindset. So they're already at a loss. Camille and Thomas, the reason I'm going to predict a yes for them is because they're coming into the marriage at least with the best mindset. Now, can they execute it? We will see. But let me tell you why they got the best mindset. They got a marriage mindset. Even when she was about to be a runaway bride, I know that's what they focused on with Camille, that she was almost a runaway bride. But even in her runaway bride episode, it was because she had the right mindset. It's because she was going in with soberness. If y'all remember, we've had a lot of runaway brides in the past seasons. But those people were running away because their mind was focused on looks. So they were saying, what if he doesn't look like what I want him to look like? Their mindset of running away from the marriage was because they were afraid that the man was not going to have the physical attributes that they wanted. That's not a marriage mindset. When Camille was running away from her marriage or about to, her biggest fear was because what she was saying is, I'm about to go into a marriage and my whole life is going to change. There you go, girl. Now, is her whole life going to change? No. But what she was saying was she knows she's got to be a different Camille. She even said it. She starts talking about, I'm going to have to be a different person. And a lot of people think they can go into a marriage and not change. They think I can come to marriage and be just as I am. I always talk about this. If you want to be in a marriage and be just who you are and have someone like you just as you are, then stay married to Jesus Christ. Be married to the Lord, because you will have to change for a marriage. And if you don't know that, then you don't have the marriage mindset. Marriage mindset is, I'm here to serve the marriage. Once we serve the marriage, which means I will have to change to serve the marriage in some ways. Once we serve the marriage will then in turn bless us. That's how it works. Just like I will serve this child that I'm birthing. When that child is in a mother's womb, that child is living off the mother's blood, the mother's nutrients, the mother's everything. That child is living off the mother. The mother is serving that child. That child is born. That mother is still serving that child. She's the one keeping that baby alive with her breast milk. Eventually, that mother starts to feel like, wow, I gave birth to this child, but you know what it feels like? It feels like this child gave birth to me. This child is serving me, and that in turn makes me enjoy serving and being a mother because of the joy I get out of being a mother. That's what marriage looks like. You serve the marriage. Then you get joy out of the marriage. And then what you do is you enjoy being a wife that can serve a marriage. You enjoy being a husband that serves the marriage because of how much you get out of the marriage. But too many people come in the marriage thinking, I'm just here to get something. That's like having a baby, thinking your baby gonna wake up and start cleaning up the house for you. The baby is here to help me clean up the house. That's all the baby is here for. So I'm not gonna enjoy my baby until my baby's old enough to help me do some of this housework. It's a different mentality. But Camille and Thomas, you see, have a marriage mindset. See, one of the things Thomas said, he's 42, she's 32. That's a big age difference. That's a 10-year difference. And but I'm gonna say this: Camille is older than 32. When I saw her talking, I was like, wow, she only 32. She kind of talks as if she's a little bit older than 32, at least maybe her mid-30s. And I think that's why she had a problem dating. I think Camille was probably trying to date men her age, but those men her age were not on her marriage mindset mentality. She was too far ahead of those men. So that's why I'm happy they put her with an older man. And it looks like he's established. Looks like he's a banker. He has established career. Camille looks like she's just starting off her career. I know Chicago's expensive. It's very, very expensive. Camille had a small, modest studio apartment. She's going to be able to meet a man, Thomas, who's a established banker. Looks like he's built a little bit of foundation for a marriage. He's got 10 years on her. They could come together well. He could elevate her life a little bit. And then what he says is time is passing him by. He's a banker. He's got his suits. He's a bit OCD. He is a bit OCD, y'all. So there we go right there. That's going to be a thing maybe they got to work together on. I don't know. I saw Camille's place, but her place looked nice and clean. She's used to living in a small space, so maybe they will be okay. But Thomas said he's ready for marriage. He's ready for marriage. And if he is into his career, Camille says she's supportive and she's cheerleader for a partner. You see, she's talking about what she is for the marriage. She's talking about what she is going to implant in the marriage, that she's going to be supportive. She's a cheerleader for her partner, right? And even Pastor Cal said to her, girl, you a wife, you're not a girlfriend. There you go. There you go. I was disagreeing with Pastor Cal a lot last year, but right there when he said that girl was a wife and not a girlfriend, it's so ironic because I had the same thought before he even said it. I said, oh, she's a wife. She's a wife. And that's why I said she felt older. She has the marriage mindset. And she says, you know what? She wants to marry a black man. She said she wants someone that has shared living experience, relatability. She said she wants someone who's more corporate, more straight-laced, which is going to be good for Thomas because Thomas is corporate. He's very straight-laced. He is a black man. Looks like he's biracial, maybe. We saw his mother, so it looks like he's biracial, but he black enough. Everybody talking about Kamala Harris. Is she black? She black enough, and so is Thomas. He's black enough. One interesting thing when they talked about why haven't they found a person, especially Thomas, because Thomas has said he's wanted to get married, and his twin brother, he's of a twin, he's a twin, he's also adopted. And he said, well, why haven't you gotten married? You're 42 years old. You look like you're ready for marriage. Why haven't you found a woman? What type of women were you dating? And he said he's always dated women who were kind and nurturing and supportive, which we believe that's what Camille is. So we got that part. So if you were dating women who were kind and nurturing and supportive, Thomas, why didn't you get married? Those sound like wonderful women. And what I believe is because Thomas is an overthinker. I think he's scary. He can't pull the plug. Later on, when Pastor Cal was talking to his twin brother used a certain phrase. His brother said, take a leap. He said his twin brother told him that Thomas needs to take a leap, which told me that his twin brother saw that Thomas was afraid to take a leap. What Thomas was afraid of was making a mistake. You see, Thomas is in a field of banking where every penny matters. Every little decimal point matters, right? He's into the fine details. He's OCD. He's got his ties lined up, his shoes lined up. He's very, very detailed. He doesn't want to make a mistake. So probably what he did was he lingered with women. He probably wasted some women's time. He probably has dated some very nice women, and those women sat around waiting to get married, and he probably never married them because he was scared. He didn't know how to take a leap. So he's come to Married at First Sight and said, Married at First Sight, I can't do it for myself. I'm too scary. So I need you to do it. But once you do it for me, I'm a stick. Because I think Thomas has the marriage mindset. Thomas is going to benefit from this planned, arranged marriage, because the problem that Thomas has is not that he wouldn't make a good husband. It's because he was afraid to take the leap. And what taking the leap has done was when he signed up for the show, and now Married at First Sight is the one that's going to pull the trigger for him. He can't pull the trigger. Thomas couldn't pull the trigger, but he's ready for it. And so now he's going to get another kind and nurturing and supportive wife in Camille, but Married at First Sight has pulled the trigger for him. He said he's okay with a strong personality because he's pretty laid back. He goes with the flow. He don't go with the flow all the way because we could tell he's got some OCD with him. But what he's saying is, I'm not really argumentative. I don't need to have things my way all the time. So I'm comfortable with a woman who can also lead. And we're okay with that because you know what? We know something about Camille. Camille can lead. Camille is an athlete. Camille is an athlete. Any woman who plays sports to the level that she plays sports has to be confident. You have to be confident to play sports. Initially, that's why when people would put their kids, their young girls in sports, because sports helps build confidence of women. Nowadays, we have to balance the male parts that sports highlight in women and balance it with their soft sides, because sometimes sports go so far and develops that competitive masculine side of a woman, and then they start to lose that feminine side. So sometimes you find women who are so into sports, they're so competitive that eventually they'll compete with their partners. You don't want that part coming out of sports. When your daughters are in sports and they're athletic, you want them to be competitive on the field, but they need to learn how to not always compete with their mates. So what Camille looks like she has managed so far is I'm hoping she's not going to be competitive with Thomas. But Thomas is laid back. He says he's okay with having a strong woman. And Camille, having been a former athlete, she's going to have some of that in her. I hope that it's a good balance. I hope that Camille's strength is a good balance with Thomas's laid back one. She says she's a hopeless romantic. And what she says is she wants to do everything with her husband. She want to cook with him. She want to play basketball with him. You see, what Camille is saying is, I want my husband to be my meal, and then the rest of the stuff will be the extra stuff on the side. You see, what Michelle was saying when I was telling you she had marriage mindset, she wanted her existing life to be her meal. And then what she wanted was the husband to be the seasoning on top. Well, Camille is saying, no, I want my husband to be the whole meal. And then what I will do, because I'm independent, I can have other things on the side. You see, so even when her husband is busy, Hope she will have things on the side that will keep her busy so that she doesn't feel like, wow, now because my husband is busy at work, now I'm bored at home with nothing to do. No, because she does have other things on the side. She has other interests. But what she knows is that my life is going to be here to serve my husband, which means he's my meal. He's my meal. And then with other gaps I have, I fill that in with other things. I fill that in with children. I fill that in with all my other hobbies as well, instead of the other way around. We're out here teaching people that you come to marriage with this full life, and then what you do is you sprinkle a mate on top. That's not actually true. You want to be happy by yourself. You wanted to learn how to have navigated life by yourself. You wanted to have learned how to create happiness for yourself. So that way, when you get with a mate, right, you're not 100% dependent on them for all your happiness, but they are there to also serve the marriage so you can have happiness with them, but you also can create things outside of them. We're watching the Tia Mowry show. And that's one of the things I think she suffered from, was that she didn't learn how to balance what comes out of the marriage with also having other interests of her own. And that it's a balance. It is a balance. And if you're too far to one side or the other, it's going to cause an imbalance. If you're a woman that doesn't have any outside interests besides your husband, you're going to struggle. And if you're a woman that has too many outside interests outside of your husband, you're going to struggle. And so right now, what we're hearing is Camille wants Thomas to be the meal. I want to do everything with him. I want him to be the meal. And what we need to hope for is that she also does have some other outside interests. But initially, she's saying, no, I'm here to serve my marriage. And I'm here to serve my marriage because my marriage is going to be the meal that's going to provide me everything I need. Now, what Camille will have to watch out for, and we're hoping that Thomas will be able to give this to her, is that Camille says that she sometimes takes on caretaking roles and then she pretends everything's okay. So we need to make sure that she does take care of herself. She needs to be a partner with a man who's going to give to her as well, because otherwise she'll just be pouring into the marriage and no one's pouring into her. So she's going to need a man that's going to do that. And from what Thomas's friends have said, even the brother has said that this man is that type of a man. That he's the type of man that likes to pour into people in his relationships. So I'm hoping he shows up that way. I'm hoping that he shows up that way. But when she was about to be a runaway bride and she was having her panic attack, she was